Welcome to the Sisters in Service podcast, the space where stories from active duty veterans, military spouses, and even military brats finally get the spotlight they deserve. I'm your host, Kat Corchado, Air Force veteran, movement specialist, and the heart behind this podcast. I started Sisters in Service because too many stories from our community were going untold. Stories of resilience, transition, identity, and the strength it takes to serve and to thrive beyond the uniform. This podcast is about connection, empowerment, and reminding each of us that our service didn't end when our military chapter closed. It simply evolved. Sisters in Service is proudly sponsored by Fit for Life Alliance, a space where people are committed to feeling better in their bodies every single day, and by My Sexy Business, where you can own a business that doesn't own you. So grab your coffee, your journal, or your walking shoes, because every episode is an invitation to listen, learn, and lean into the powerful stories that remind us service is a sisterhood that never fades. Welcome, everyone, to the latest episode of Sisters in Service. I am Kat Corchado, your host. And today we're going to be talking about what it's like or what it takes to build something meaningful in life and business. My guest today is someone who doesn't just talk about impact, she builds the infrastructure for it. If you've been with us for a while, today's guest may sound familiar. Melissa Washington joined us back in 2021. I can't believe that. That's so far back, when she was leading powerful work as the founder and CEO of Women Veterans Alliance. Since then, her impact hasn't just grown, it's expanded in new directions. In our conversation today, we're not just rehashing the past, we're talking about what's evolved, what she's seeing across the veteran and women-led business ecosystem, and what's next. From the growth of veteran events as a national platform to her expanded consulting and speaking work, supporting founders, leaders, and mission-driven organizations, Melissa continues to build with intention and clarity. This is a conversation about momentum, infrastructure, and leadership in real time. What happens after the vision is launched and the real work begins. So let's dive back in and welcome Melissa Washington. Hi.
Hey, Kat. So good to see you. I can't believe it's been that long.
I know. I was like, wait, what? It's been that long ago? I was just a baby in the podcast world in 2021. I
Here
think you
you
were one of my first people I asked to be on my podcast, I
Oh,
believe.
awesome. Well,
Yeah.
here I am again, and a lot's happened in 5 years.
All right. So for those people that are new and who don't know you, and I can't even imagine if I said the word Melissa Washington veteran or the phrase, people are like, oh, I know her, or I've heard of her, or I've seen her.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
However, if someone new is listening, um, let me ask you the question I ask all veterans, because you're a Navy veteran.
Yes.
And did you pick the Navy or did the Navy pick you?
Pretty much picked the Navy. That's the door that was open when I went to the strip mall for the recruiting stations. Yeah, and the Marine Corps, they had that bar. You had to do the pull up thing, and yeah, I was not making it past that at all. Right? Not for me. So
Hmm.
yes, that's how that one happened.
Yeah, I mean, I picked the Air Force because that was what I knew. I was not, okay, let's be clear. I almost went in the Navy because I love their dress white uniforms until I was told that that's not the uniform they wear all the time. So I thought I might as well go in the Air Force because I was not going in the Army and I was not going in the Marine Corps. No offense, I just wasn't going to do it.
Well, right? There's a reason we go all into, certain branches. And I always say the reason I went into the Navy is to meet my husband. Because if I didn't join the Navy, I wouldn't have met my husband.
Oh, see, I met my husband in the Air Force. Go
See, you're
figure.
right.
All right, so let's kind of talk about choosing a different path because you left the Navy early to avoid the strain of a dual service household, something many people don't talk about openly. How did that decision challenge your identity, and what did it teach you about redefining service?
Hmm. That's a good question. with that. So just to provide context, so I did I signed up like everybody for the 4 years, but in 1994, at the time, President Clinton was downsizing the military. And I did a 6 month med cruise and I did a 6 month Westpac. I saw the world. But at my A school, I had met this guy, Marine, who's now of course, my husband. Um, and he's one of those that grew up, he knew he was going to be right in the military. He's going to be a Marine and he was going to make a career of it. And honestly, I didn't want to be where he's deploying, I'm deploying that our life. And when the opportunity came up for me to get out early, I raised my hand and I said, you know what, I want out early. And I got out early and got out, walked off the ship. The next month I got married and the next month he deployed. Yes.
Wow.
Yeah. So that's like my transition story of transitioning out of the military. I mean, it's literally like, okay, drop the sea bag off.
Mm-hmm.
I'm planning the wedding, getting married, and then I'm seeing him off, on his 6 month deployment.
Mm-hmm.
There.
Wow.
Yeah.
Now, I know you spent over a decade in corporate recruiting and HR before being laid off during whatever it was we were going through at the time. Looking back, do you see that layoff as an ending or the moment everything truly began for you?
100% the moment everything began.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't know it at the time. I mean, of course, you're going through this whole process of being laid off. I mean, the economy, I mean, it's tanking. And I had just moved up to Sacramento like a year before that. So I really had no community because I had started a new job and I was like, into the job
Right.
and having no people to really connect with, that made it a little bit more difficult. And also, too, I
Mm-hmm.
was going through a grieving process, which I didn't understand that at the time because I was grieving a loss of identity. It's like
Yes.
it's who you are. And there's so many similarities to that, to what
Mm-hmm.
our transitioning service members feel, that that loss of identity, because that's the uniform you wear. That's how I introduce myself. So it's like, when I was unemployed, how do I introduce myself? Oh, hi, I'm unemployed looking for a job. I mean,
I know. Big
right?
me.
And then some people get like, oh, turned off, and then they write the first thing is, oh, why are you
Mm.
unemployed? Like, is there something wrong with you? Um,
Exactly.
but I mean, at that time, there were so many people that were, looking for work at that time,
Mm-hmm.
which then that led me into doing LinkedIn workshops at my dining room table when I was laid off, and which started doing that, and then ended up starting my
Mm-hmm.
own business to do LinkedIn training, speaking at conferences, all because got laid off. If I didn't never got laid
Mm-hmm.
off, I wouldn't be here. I wouldn't be talking to you today.
Yeah.
Um, and
Well,
I'm glad.
I'm
I'm
not
glad
going
I
to
got
say
laid off.
that I'm happy you got laid off, but I'm happy you got laid off.
Yes, no, I'm happy. It wasn't a good environment anyway, so it was a good thing. So it was a good thing.
Mhm. So you started all of this LinkedIn workshops, the consulting, the speaking and all of this. When you look back, what's the biggest misconception people have about reinvention in mid-career?
The misconception that you can't do it, or I'm too old to do it, right? It's
Mhm.
like I'm too old to reinvent myself, or I think that's probably the biggest one, right? It's the fear. And then we think of
Yeah,
everything we can to not do it.
to not do it. Yeah. I hear you. I think we all do that. And then you're just like, I think I got to a certain age because I was told I was too old to start my business. And I thought, how much time do I have left on this earth? I'm doing this now.
There you go,
I
right?
don't have time to sit there and go, what am I going to do with the rest of my life?
And it's a mindset shift, and you think
Mhm.
about it like, could I have done this when I was in my 20s? Nope. Different mindset,
Yeah,
right? So it's
yeah,
just like, okay,
absolutely.
now in my 50s, again, different
Hmm.
mindset, right? There's certain things that piss us off that didn't before, or we just let roll off.
Yes.
So
I,
it's the time. And I feel everything that I've done, from the
mhm,
military on, have all been like these different stepping stones to get
mhm.
where what I do today. And I get to do things that I'm good at and I love.
Well, I think it's for me, it's timing. Like when I think back in my life, everything has been either right on time or I missed the bus completely. Because if I hadn't gone in the military when I did, I probably wouldn't gotten in as a single parent. I probably wouldn't have met my husband. And it's all this, how one thing leads to another type of thing. So it kind of blows my mind a little bit to think back, what if this hadn't happened?
Yep.
So, Melissa, I know that visibility is a theme that runs through all of the work that you do. Why do you believe, especially women veterans who are often invisible, even when they're doing extraordinary work? Let me ask that again. Why do you believe women veterans who are often invisible, um, we keep showing up, we keep doing these extraordinary things? What is it about us one is veterans and one is women veterans that we have this tenacity, this you're not going to push me down, I'm not going to stay here, I'm going to rise up? What is it about us, do you think?
There's a lot of it. There's a kind of the question, kind of like, I really feel we need to like break it up, right? The
Mm-hmm.
what that looks like, right? Because we have, and you said it, we've got the woman piece,
Mm-hmm.
and then you've got the veteran piece.
I don't think
And
you can
so,
separate them though, can you?
well, no, but you can't separate them, but
Mm-hmm.
understanding that, yes, we have all these things in common with women, right? And then
Yes.
now we've got that extra, we've got that, that other piece of who we are,
Yes.
um, that women who've served understand that piece,
Mm-hmm.
regardless of what branch, right? So it's like
Yes.
they are the same. That's who I am. I am a woman. I served in the military. I am a veteran. And understanding that there are things that happen that I do, whether it's, you know, learning opportunities or good
Mm-hmm.
things happen, but also too, what is my resilience? And I think a lot of that comes from the military too. I think, all of us, there's, you have some type of resilience,
Yes.
there. And, looking at that as we continue to evolve as women
Mm-hmm.
and as veterans. And then again, also to the needs of being a woman,
Mm-hmm.
myself, menopause. I mean, that's a big thing,
Oh,
right?
that.
Oh, that, right? But then, okay, so you have all the women factors, but now you also have the
Mm-hmm.
veteran piece of exposure and other things that we may have been exposed to. So it's also,
Mm-hmm.
preventative stuff is making sure, we're getting our, mammograms and other things like that.
Right.
Um, so yes, you have to separate it, but then it's all who we are, just so you understand, I
Yeah.
mean, they, 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 they definitely intertwine with each other.
Oh,
Um,
absolutely.
yeah.
I also think too that once you've been in the military, that's, a lot of women are like, oh, I can't, I don't have the time, I don't, those types of things. Where a veteran might say, I want to start a business. I can't start it right now, but I'm going to look into this. We have this, we don't have that wall. We're like, I was telling one of my business coaches, I said, when a veteran comes across a wall, we look up, we look at it. Can I get over it? Can I get around it? Can I dig underneath it? How can I go through it? We're already figuring out how we get over the wall. A lot of people are just like, yep, wall's there. I'm going to turn around and go home. But I think we're extraordinary in the fact that one, we're women, two, we're veterans, and three, we are capable. We know we're capable of extraordinary work. Where other people might question, I think we're like, yeah, I could do that. I could do a nonprofit. I can do an organization. I can write a book, which is what you've done for all of those three.
Yes, absolutely. And then, and a big thing too, so, veterans that are listening, or, if you're married to a veteran, um, they they may feel that passion and that purpose, but then it's like,
Mhm,
where do we go next, right? And finding those resources. And that's what
mhm.
we are helping a lot of our, women veterans that are looking for, that is getting her connected to the right resources so we can help her, you know, get on that path of, business ownership.
Absolutely. Now, I know for certain that you are known for being very direct and motivating,
Yes.
both. So, what does you talk about intentional leadership? What does that look like in practice, but and not on paper?
So being intentional when we talk about, one of the things I've encountered is people say who you are is, when I see you, that's who you are. Yes, I'm an intentional person. Whatever I'm going to say to you on the stage or on this Zoom call, that is me, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's me who I am, and being that leader, but also being intentional as far as my time,
Yes,
intention, right? And that's a huge one.
that's
And that's
huge.
a big thing, because I remember when I first started, Women Veterans Alliance, I was trying to do everything. I was like going to this group and this group wanted, saying, "Oh, come out here and be on this board and do all that."
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, oh my God, I was just all over the place. So now it's like, okay, how can I be intentional with my time so I can help myself? Because that way it's like, putting my mask on first so I can be able to help, other women that need help in the business space. So it's
Mm-hmm.
leading by example. So if you see what I'm doing, it's pretty much exactly what I'm doing, and being
Mm-hmm.
intentional with that.
But I think other women are seeing you being intentional, and they're like, "Wow, she's doing that. How can I do something similar?" Sometimes you just need that little spark where you see somebody doing something, you go, "I could do that. Why couldn't I do that?" And I think that as you get older, you can't be everywhere all the time. And so I've learned a very, very important word called no.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
It's not that I don't want to, but I can't. I can't just pull myself so thin that I don't have anything left for my husband. So
Right.
I've learned how to
No.
say no in a nice way. And sometimes it's not a no, it's a not right now. And
Yeah.
that's okay too, I
No,
think.
it absolutely is. And
Hmm.
and one of those things too, as we look at who we are, and yes, people see me this way. Yes, that's who I am, but they don't see all the other shit that's happening, right? They
Oh,
don't,
right.
right? All the other times where it's just like, I don't have the energy today, or,
Hmm.
my tech goes wrong, or, I'm doing all these other things, or I'm trying to. So there's a lot of things that happen. Yes, some of them are learning opportunities, and some
Oh,
are
you mean
just
that
some.
life gets in the way?
Yes, it does. And things happen, right? Or I'm just, I'm like, oh my gosh, I can't today.
Yes.
Um, so people may not see that. And that's one of the things too that I'm really gonna focus on this year too, is saying it's okay, and get a
Hmm.
little bit more vulnerable as I do, social media and
Yeah.
speaking, is it's okay. Granted, if it happens all the time, there might be, other things, but just understanding, um, that yeah, you see her, but doesn't mean, I don't know. Anybody here on earth that's got it all together. I don't, you know. You
Yeah.
said life.
Well, on
Life
social
happens.
media, everyone looks perfect. Everyone says the perfect
Absolutely.
thing. And that's not me, folks. If any of you have listened to this podcast, that's not me at all.
Yeah. No, no. Uh, and that's, yeah. And that's what, that's what we really need to understand. And one
Mhm.
of the other things too, as I get older, yeah, I always wanted to be at the table, but I've grown to see the importance of bringing others
With
with
you.
with me.
Yes. Yeah.
And whether that's, kicking the door open or kicking the ceiling, whatever you want to call it. So, if we continue to do that, right, we're getting there, so that way she can come,
Hmm.
all, can continue to come, make it a little bit easier, because we're standing on the shoulder, if you look at all the women before us, right,
Yes.
and then it's us, and then all these things that are, going on in the military, outside the
Hmm.
military is, um, doing that. But one of the things we need to understand too is the way we can collaborate with each other, right?
Yes.
And it's like, if you can bring women into a room, great things can happen.
Hmm.
And that's so important. And that's what I love to do, to be able to connect and network, and
Hmm.
and bring us together so we become that force. So yeah, yeah, it might be me talking or doing this stuff, but also too, we have other women and getting them inspired. And it's like, okay, now she wants to go start a business, and to be able to help her.
Absolutely. I want to ask you one more question before we go into what's happening now. Um, for women veterans, founders, and leaders who feel stuck, unseen, or unsure of their next move, and we've all been there, what's the one question we should be asking ourselves right now? So if I'm stuck, I don't know what direction to go in. What's that question I should be asking myself?
That's a good question. Well, for me, mine always would be with starting with prayer. But that question is this really what I'm meant to do?
Hmm.
Because sometimes we just keep hanging on, and that's not what I'm meant to do. I started to do this,
Exactly.
and it's easy, but it's difficult.
Hmm.
And um, then if you look at it and say, okay, yes, this is my purpose. This is the journey that I'm on. Who can help me get there, right? So whether it's
Yeah.
formal mentorship, informal mentorship, watching
Hmm.
podcasts, watching the good stuff on, because there's good stuff on social media. Because I get on, I'll
Oh
watch
yeah. Oh
some
yeah.
some good stuff,
All the
but there's some
dog
others.
stuff, that's what I look at.
Right? Yeah, it's like if I can just have like the adult reel, and then just the so, so it's listening to those, and then again the whole networking piece, talking to others. And it's so
Mhm.
important that we have that human connection, in-person connection too.
Oh yeah.
um and that way too, if you're in that spot of being stuck, or
Mhm.
then having that conversation with others, and being in an environment where you can feel safe to talk about that, right? Because we don't want to
Mhm.
feel vulnerable, and like, oh, if someone thinks, oh, well, she really ain't got her stuff together. And I do that too. I'll put up
Oh,
a
we all do.
block, because right, because I don't want to say, oh, I have this, or I'm trying to do this, and I need help. So, and we're not good at asking for help either. So that's something as women we definitely need to
Mhm.
get better at, is or managing the help. Because I've learned that
Mhm.
from my husband, or I learned that for my husband. He's not going to watch this. So um, we've been married 31 years, and it's, yes, it's managing him. He
Mhm.
doesn't know I'm managing him, but I have to, right? So it's not like I'm telling him what to do. I just,
Mhm.
just a certain way, we do things, and it works. So if women
Mhm.
could work on, if you do have a significant other, how do you manage them?
Yeah, my husband has a time management issue, and I learned how to manage that without him understanding that I'm managing his time.
Hmm.
Um, but it's, I think one of the things that I asked myself, because if you said, oh, what do I want to do? I'd be like, But if you asked me, what are you passionate about? Oh, now we're getting somewhere. And you
Hmm.
write, I have people write down everything they're passionate about and have them pick the top 10 and then pick the top five and then pick the top two and say, which one of those would you want to do as a hobby or maybe as a business?
Yep.
So I think you have to have passion. If you don't, I don't care if it's your job, it's your business, whatever that you have. Passion is what brings you back. Because even as an entrepreneur, and you could probably attest to this, there are days I'm like, I'm done. I'm done with this business, entrepreneur crap. I'm all set. And then I remember my why. And I think, oh, yeah, okay.
Right.
And then,
It
and then you
right.
come right back to it.
And I can relate 1000% to that.
Hmm.
That's, it comes back to my why. What have I been
Hmm.
put here to do, with that? Um, and then one other thing I was going to share about with my husband, he's the 9 to 5 guy. He likes to, he's a retired Marine. He has his job, and he just like, goes there. And I'm an entrepreneur. I'm doing all kinds of, crazy things. But he does want to somewhat like be involved. So I gave him a
Hmm.
title, He's my chief logistics officer because he brings the Amazon packages into the house. So, I make, right? They like that stuff. Make
Yeah.
them feel
Oh,
good. It's like,
yeah.
oh yeah,
My husband cooks and he kills the big bugs, and I'm good. I'm all set. I'm like, thank you. So, Melissa, the last time you were on the show in 2021, we focused heavily on your Women Veterans Alliance and the early stages of that movement. What, excuse me, when you look back at that version of your work, what's evolved the most, your mission, your methods, or you as a leader?
The most.
Or maybe they're all three. Maybe
They're
all,
all
all three of them
three,
have changed.
but I would say a lot of it me as a leader because I've learned so much in these last few years, which I feel makes me a stronger leader and able to talk about certain things that I might not have been able to share before. And a lot of it's experience, right? That's why I feel, people that are seasoned, they got a lot of experience, and
Hmm.
uh, to be able to apply that to what they're doing. The mission's still the same. It's like,
Hmm.
how can we get women connected with each other and everything that comes with that, connected to other people, connect her to resources, and the networking. Now we're global, so that's something that's happened the last few years. We have Women
Hmm.
Veterans Global Alliance, where we have monthly calls with women that are very involved in other organizations in other countries. So
Hmm.
their groups, because they have same stuff we got. It's just a different accent. They're talking. I'm like, yep, yep, and it's
Yeah.
just it's in a British accent or something, but
Oh yeah.
the
Australian
yes,
something. Yeah. It's
yeah,
it's kind of cool, actually, I think, that you have created this, where I picture us all holding hands around the world type of thing as women veterans. And I think women are stronger when we're together. We are so incredibly powerful, and sometimes I don't think we step into that power enough. Sometimes we get a little too powerful, a little too there. But I think when we pull together, that we are probably the most powerful group in this country. There, I said it. I said it. Yes, I did.
there
We're
you go.
powerful. So
Absolutely.
I'm just gonna leave that right there. um, you created, veteran events across the world, because you saw there was an issue. There's a fragmentation in the veteran and military connected space. So, what were you seeing across these ecosystems that made you realize this doesn't need another program? It needs an infrastructure, because it's easy to get a group together, but how do you keep the group together? How do you grow it? It's easy to put a nonprofit. Well, I don't know if it's easy. I'm not going to say that. You could put a nonprofit together, but if there isn't an infrastructure, it's not going to go anywhere. How important is that when people are thinking about a nonprofit, or putting together something as powerful that you've put together with Women Veterans Alliance?
It's not easy, you know, it's not, because, right, if anything was easy, everybody would do it. Everybody would be an entrepreneur. Everybody would do all these things, and it's not easy with that. But it's also too continually evolving. So again, if we go back to where I was when I talked to you 6 years ago, there are things that have evolved. There are things that
Hmm.
I may not do anymore, and there's things that have
Hmm.
been added because there's that need of that. And that was one of the things that creating veteran events.
Hmm.
So with Women Veterans Alliance, we have a speaker directory, and it's available now to any woman veteran and actually men as well. But I created the directory on our site. It's part of being a business or lifetime member, and you get to be listed on this speaker directory
Hmm.
as part of your membership. And
I love
why?
that.
Well, one of the reasons is I get usually it's around more so like Memorial Day or Veterans Day. I'll get like a call from a teacher in some
Hmm.
high school, and like, hey, do we want to we finally thought about, oh, we haven't had a woman come and speak here, and we found you on Google. do you know someone? It's like, okay. So now creating this directory, and then having women that can, speak at conferences, do other things. So it's like, how can we elevate and have women veterans visible? So I had the
Mm-hmm.
speaker directory. And then another thing I noticed that's missing is, the events, right? They're all
Mm-hmm.
like over the place. So creating an online calendar where people can post events, so it could just be this one central hub where people can find events. And then another thing that I do is I also do, different events, management coordination of events. And I love to do events. So I have that on there. So you have our
Mm-hmm.
speakers, you've got the calendar, and you have our event services. And it's veteran.events. That's the website. I was surprised that domain was available. And in the process of revamping the website as
Mm-hmm.
well. And continuing just to add those speakers and those events,
Mm-hmm.
and because we need that. It's just so,
Yes.
yeah, it's so just like just disjointed
Mm-hmm.
there. uh, yeah, so people can visit veteran.events and find out more. So it's, you know any entrepreneur, right? We're always creating something, and that's just,
Right.
it's just what it is. So it's just like, okay, and then it goes back to it being intentional with our time.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel that that is, yes, I'm being intentional because
Mm-hmm.
it's something I enjoy. I enjoy speaking. Of course, I'm in the directory. I didn't create it for me. I created it for others. But there's having that directory, then the event
Mm-hmm.
services. There's things that I get to be that I enjoy doing.
Mm-hmm.
That's part of um, that site.
So the veteran events, if I go there now, is it worldwide? Is it US? Is it just centralized in a certain, like if I'm looking for an event, would I be able to go on there because I live in North Carolina? Or can you give me a little background on it a little bit?
Yes, so it's anyone who submits an event to us,
Mm,
um, that we put it on the calendar. And when I say we, it's mainly me and another person. So we don't have a big team. Granted, if I had a big team, we can do so much more. And I had been looking for an intern to really help us to gather more of events. But one of the other things that I wanted to add on is, before I had veteran events on the Women Veterans Alliance site, I used to have events that were specific for women. So
mm-hmm,
conferences, retreats, cruises, all these different things we're doing. So we also continue to have that. So you have a calendar
mm-hmm.
with all these other events that take place, including the one things that are women veteran specific. And then there's a page just dedicated to women veteran events
Oh, I like that.
on there. And we keep the list of the previous year's events, so you can see, okay,
Mm-hmm,
well, who had the event last year, or who had the event, the year before. Or
mm-hmm.
and it gives people too, it's the opportunity is, maybe they don't see it this year, they can go back and research and find the organization to find out if they're going to do this, this retreat again, or this
Mm-hmm.
conference or this workshop. So that's the same thing. It's like, how can we make sure that we're capturing all the different women veteran um, events that are taking place
Events.
as well. Yep.
I love that. Alongside your platforms, your consulting and speaking work has expanded significantly. I was just telling her prior to us recording, I said, I see her everywhere. I see you everywhere. When you talk to these founders and leaders that are coming to you, what are the questions they're asking today as opposed to maybe 5 years ago? Are they the same questions or are they different?
I mean, a lot of it's the same. A lot of it falls along the lines of capital. It's like, okay,
Hmm.
I need capital to expand. How do I do that? Or maybe it's a point where I want to now import export. So there's all these. It depends
Hmm.
upon where they're at. Because I can get a newbie of just has some a concept there. So
Yeah.
you know I think always it's going to be the number one thing is funds. I mean, how do we continue?
Hmm.
Do we take out the business loan, or how do we fund what I want to do in my passion? And I
Yeah.
feel it's so much too with veterans, right? We want to continue to serve, and we have these great ideas, and it's like, okay, now how can I get the funds to be able to do that?
And that's a big deal. Funding. That's a big
Yes.
deal.
Yeah.
You have this. unique advantage speaking and being with and around veterans and women-led businesses, nonprofits, corporate teams, etc. What trends are you seeing right now across the veteran and women-led business ecosystem that more people need to be paying attention to? Or if any, there might be nothing. You might say, hey, we're cool, everyone's cool, it's all good.
See more like collaboration,
Mm-hmm.
um, which I feel we can do better at, but also having that collaboration where it's collaborating with my business and somebody else's business. That makes sense, right? That we're not competitors, but we can really leverage that, both of our networks and that
Mm-hmm.
visibility there as well.
Mm-hmm.
I, well, me personally, I see more people utilize LinkedIn now than before, and
Yeah.
that's where I started all this was doing LinkedIn, LinkedIn classes. So having, people utilizing LinkedIn more to
Mm-hmm.
find, new clients or to, like say, you always see me. So that's what I want to make sure. It's like, you got to be visible, right? Because if you're not visible, people are going to
Yeah.
forget you. I mean,
Oh,
honestly,
absolutely.
just think
Yeah.
of all the people we know. I mean, thousands,
Mm-hmm.
literally thousands of people. And it's like, okay, if I can just make sure, but again, being intentional of what I put, right? And
Yes.
having my face in it. Okay, what is she doing today?
Mm-hmm.
And focused around my brand. And that's another thing
Mm-hmm.
too, right? It's the intentional, the brand, and having
Yes.
that. So it's like when you think of Melissa Washington, what are you going to think of? Um,
Mm-hmm.
and reminding people this is what I do, or this is
This
what
is
I'm
exactly.
added on.
Mm-hmm. I find it difficult for me in the beginning. I find that a lot of women veterans, including myself, we don't like putting ourselves out there. Like, you know, we don't like, ooh, look at me. I mean, that's kind of how I felt like. And now through business, I'm like, hey, I'm gonna start doing reels, on socials and everything because it's important. Again, like you said, you don't want people to forget you. You don't want people to forget what you do. When you think of Melissa Washington, what do you think? What do you remember about her? And so anybody who's in business, I think, wants that.
Definitely.
But
And it's whether
you've
it's
got to be vulnerable enough to be, and don't talk about perfection. Just say, hey, I'm here. This is my thing, and let it go. Let it rip.
absolutely you do. And that's why,
Mhm.
listening to other people, other influencers that are in that space or that do that
Mhm.
well is like listening to them. I mean, it's not like, I mean, maybe some people's like overnight all of a sudden but it takes some time and what are they doing? And maybe it's not you want to put out. Maybe it's, your logo or your business. I mean, there's so many
Right.
ways that we can make sure that we're out there in this
Oh,
very
absolutely.
fast moving. I can't even keep up with all these. I mean, especially when you come to AI, which is now making it easier, but then you got to learn all these things
I
and
know.
to do
I
that.
know, right?
Um, so it's like, okay,
Um,
what do I work on? What do I prioritize? And that's why,
mhm.
I've got my calendar right here. I'm looking, okay, what am I going to um, prioritize for the rest of the
Yes.
day? Even I look at it, each week, okay, this is what I got to do. But again, life
Hmm.
happens, right? So it's like these
Yes.
other things happen, but then I got to now bring myself, or I'm looking at something I'm looking for something specifically on Instagram, but then some other story catches my eye, and
I know. And then an
I'm
hour's
looking at,
gone. You're like, oh, I'm supposed to be doing this.
yes, I'm looking at cats, and then all of a sudden that's all of all the things I'm
I
looking at are about cats. Like,
I
okay,
know that's what
I
happens
just
to
wanted to look at
me.
this one. That's all I wanted. I didn't want to look at all the other cats. I don't like those algorithms.
I
It's like
know.
erase.
I know. Melissa, you're clearly in a season of expansion, but also refinement. As you look ahead, what's the next chapter you're building toward, and what kind of impact do you want that work to have?
As far as the reach, I mean, it's still scaling, because there's so many more women veterans just we need to be able to
Mhm.
connect with. And it's like, how do we continue to scale, um, with that? I mean, that's the big thing. And of course, then again, funding, because you need money to be able
Mhm.
to do that. And then which I've really done this year too, is just like refocusing, like, what do we want to what do we want to focus on this year, and then just
Mm-hmm.
try to knock out all the other noise, because again, it's like I'm here, but then, something else comes up and
Mm-hmm.
doing it. It's like, and saying no. I've had to do that. I was
Yeah.
invited to serve on the board. I'm like, sorry, I can't, but I have, a couple other people that might be interested,
Interested. Yeah.
as well.
Absolutely.
And right, and you get flattered when you're asked those things, but it's
Yeah.
just like,
And you really hate to, I really, like, you really want to do it, but you just cannot fit it in your schedule.
yes. And and again, and one of my talks I do is about being intentional with our time, and and the productivity, and what that looks like. And part of that, is the saying no, but really look, okay,
Mm-hmm.
how is this going to best help me and my purpose
Mm-hmm.
and what I do, and and breaking down your time, right? The CPAs and attorneys do a great job at that, right? They capture every little second that,
They do.
so they,
I know.
and then they build it back. So it's like,
Billing. Yep.
okay,
Yep.
just think if we could
Exactly.
did that with our time and really like broke it
Mhm.
down, what are we wasting our time on
Mhm.
there? And
Absolutely. One more question. Let's talk about your book. So, your book, Unstoppable, being fierce, fearless, and wait for it, unfuckable in life and business, which
yes.
resonates with me. I'm just like, yeah, hello. But what does that really mean? What does unfuckable really mean? And why is it so necessary, especially for women?
Good question. And just to share, and that book is on Amazon, and it's a anthology series, with 20 other women, that
Hmm.
are doing fantastic things in in the business space, in life. And I was honored to be asked to be a part of that. And I also love the title, right?
Hmm. I love it. I'm
Yes,
like, yeah, I
yes.
need to read that book.
Right, because then because right, it's about all these women who you can get inspired by, right? And you can,
Hmm.
maybe some of the chapters of the people you won't resonate with, but I guarantee there's going to be some women in there. And it's not military, it's not a military woman veteran book.
Yeah, as
um
women in general.
yes. And
Yes.
how can we, live that life, and
Hmm.
making our, um I don't say making a stance with that, but in some ways it is.
Well,
We
it's
are.
changing your
I mean, if we could think
mindset.
about it. And what I loved about the book, it is. And I love that it put in life and business, right? Because it's not, you've got these things
Hmm.
that happen, and
Well,
it's life and business. And
I think we were having this conversation. I think it was my business coach, and we were talking about life and business, but it's kind of hard sometimes. They're kind of like this.
yeah.
Like, how do you separate you from your business or your business from you? And you're like, we are one and the same. But I kind of feel like, there's business me, and then there's me.
Yes, right?
There's me that's not the business person.
Well, I think that's, as long as we understand that and who we are, like, and I have vacation me. I'm like, I am on vacation. I look different when I'm on vacation because I'm in, I like to go to like the beach and cruises and do all that kind of stuff. So I'm
Oh
just,
yeah.
and that's me, but it's also to me, refilling my cup, right? Because right,
Yes.
you get so drained, and now I'm filling my cup, so then I could come back and I could put on,
Hmm.
put on the jacket and all
Yeah.
the other things to be business me. And right, and it's like sometimes you want to go to, you go to the store. It's like, sometimes I don't want to be Melissa business me, or just, I
Hmm.
just want to go to the store, and if I
Yeah,
happen to
just put
see
my hair up in
somebody,
a pony and
great.
go in my,
Yes.
my comfy cozies and go to the store without somebody going, Melissa. And you're like, oh God.
Yes. Right.
No, I'm not here.
And that's different, right? Because it's all about how we show up in business, but it's how we
Hmm.
show up in life. But sometimes the way we show up in life is just got to be,
Yeah.
this is it.
Hmm. Melissa, this has been such a great conversation.
Yeah.
Tell us where can we find you? What's coming up for you? Where we can find you on, socials? You have any events coming up? Anything?
Yeah. So you can Google my name, Melissa Washington, or visit melissawashington.com. You can Google Women Veterans Alliance and, of course, veteran events. I'm on all the different social platforms as well. But one of the big things that we have coming up is May 30th is our Women Veterans Engage conference. It's our 5th one this year.
Oh,
And it's
nice.
a great opportunity for women to connect. It's a very unique event that takes place at different locations on one day throughout the U.S. And if you want more information, womenveteransengage.com. Again, going back to the importance of meeting in person. Granted, some people might not be able to, but you can still connect with us on the national stream that happens during that time on that Saturday.
That sounds awesome. I might have to look into that. That sounds really cool.
Yes.
Well, Melissa, thank you so much for being on the podcast again. I hope we
Yeah.
don't wait 6 years for you to do
No.
it again. This has been such a powerful conversation. I want to thank you for your honesty, your leadership, and the work you continue to do to make sure women veterans and mission-driven leaders are not just seen, but supported. And to my listeners, if today's episode resonated with you, I encourage you to check out Melissa's work, her books, and the platform she's built to create real connection and measurable impact. So until next time, please stay safe, take care of each other. Until next time, and please remember, it's never too late to start dreaming.